Hey everyone, Jim here. I hope you can see me. I hope you can hear me. Thought we would go live. So happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. And boy, what a week it's been. I hope that you and yours are doing well. We thought we would just tune in. I'm just checking to make sure that I'm live here. And I am. I see myself. So good deal. So tonight, as you come in, put in where you're from. I think that would be great. And we'll just chat a little bit about St. Patrick's Day and what's been going on and so forth. And, I think it's really, really an important thing to do. NCPI says they're from Kansas. There you go. Very cool. Very cool indeed. Now, tonight, and I'm just checking one other thing, so I apologize. We're going to talk about the COVID situation. We're going to talk about St. Patrick's Day, and I've got a special guest. Just have to check one little thing here. Hold on one second. I'm just making sure one little thing here as we go. Yes, we are correct. All right. Okay, we've already got 56 people in the room. Oh, well, wait till we get our special guest. 65. Wow. Whew. My goodness. Well, here we go. Dar Harold's here. Hey, Dar, how you doing?
I'm not really a special guest, but
I haven't seen you for
everybody
a while.
out there is probably like, oh, it's her.
No, I'm glad to have you here.
I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah. And by the way, everybody, Jim is drinking tonight, so it could get interesting.
Cheers. Wait.
No, Mama needs some coffee. What's in that?
Coffee.
And what else?
And a little bit of Bailey's. Or fake Bailey's, whatever.
I think we all need some Bailey's right now, or some
I need it really filled up to here, but
let's see where some of the folks are calling in from. We've got Kansas. Hey, Kansas. We've got Kent, Ohio.
Yay!
Hop, skip, and jump. Jim Hamilton, a great designer, does a lot of our artwork. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Check out Jim's work. Also, Baby Dave Anthony. Hey, Sabrina from up north in Canada. Lee, how you doing? Nate from Michigan. Marlena, happy St. Pat's, Seattle. Crazy times there.
Oh.
Our heart goes out to you, Seattle. I know you guys have been through a tough time. Lucy from the UK, happy St. Pat's. Happy St. Pat's to you. Gloria, how you doing? From Arizona. Jennifer, Courtney and Adam say hello. And yeah, Jennifer, I know you're from Ohio. So
awesome.
So good. They came out and saw us at the Kent event when we were there. Serendipity from Western Australia.
That's great.
Mary's calling in from Tennessee. I think we got Baby Dave before, but he's from California. Hey, there you go. Yeah, podcastage. This is Bandrew Scott, and he is the best reviewer on the internet of mics. And due to his review, I'm not worthy, I got the Lewitt. So yes, sir.
Another mic.
That's right. Thank you, Bandrew. You and Dar are going to have a talk. Dawn, hey, San Francisco.
Stop reviewing these things. No.
David, love and respect from the West Coast of Tennessee. Joe, happy St. Patrick's Day. Let's see. I lost my place. We got a lot of comments here. NCPI said they just called down all schools here for the rest of the school year.
Wow.
It's not quite that way yet in Ohio, but I got to be honest with you. I think that's where we're headed. And once we get through the folks here, I want to address everybody, as many as I can, and then we're going to talk a little bit about our thoughts because I think we've got some. Chris, hi, Chris. How you doing? Long-time listener and supporter of the shows. Tyler, hey. And Chris says hello. Emily says we love Dar.
Oh, thank you.
Sabrina says, cheers. I can't drink. I am pregnant.
Oh, next
Congratulations.
Year. Yes, William, definitely.
Mark says he's from under a rock. He has a very ironic sense of humor. He's always saying little jokes there. Brian from Louisville. Podcastage calling in from an undislocation. I can't speak. I have another drink.
Another drink.
Near Area 51.
What is that?
Number
3?
Yeah. No, that's big number 4. Little do you know, Emily and from LA.
Uh-oh.
And
guys are in for a treat.
Number 5, yeah.
I think it's number 5. We're in trouble.
Darcy, Mike, Arizona in the house. Rosalinda says Flagstaff, Arizona. Tyler from Utah. All right. Now, if you're in the Facebook group for Virtual Campfire, make sure there's a little permission thing you could click on. That way I could see your name, because a few people I'm seeing, it says Facebook user, and then we don't know your name. So please do that. Robert is here. And where's Robert from? Oh, pinched all those not wearing green. Pamela. Hey, Pamela again. Rhonda. Yes, I have already started.
Oh, yeah,
William
you did.
said, unfortunately, we have 2 confirmed and 3 possible cases in children. Children could get COVID-19. Everyone stay safe. I agree. Dawn says, Dar is so cute. Well, I certainly think so.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
That's not what you were saying yesterday, but that's okay.
I wouldn't say you were cute.
All part of the coronavirus
Yeah, we had
saga.
a little tiff.
Yep.
A little tiff. Chris said, wow, you remembered me. I remember my longtime supporters, Chris. I don't forget you, or I try not to. Don't say something so scary, Jim. I don't think that anything I could say is any scarier than what we're facing. So hopefully this will be less scary, actually. Dan from Sacramento. Rick Allen. Hey, I knew Rick Allen, worked with Rick Allen in radio. Hey, Rick, how you doing tonight? Mark says, hi, magnificent Maddie. So if Maddie's out there watching, he's saying hi. Good. Oh, good. Hope she's doing well up there in Canada. Jason from Michigan. Oh, there she is. Hey, Maddie. Hope you're feeling well, doing well. Tyler, my kids love the show. We listen all the time. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Jason, hello from LR. What do you think LR is? Am I missing something? Maybe it'll clarify. Oh, somebody said this. Oh, are we canceled for the 24th? Yes, we are canceled for the 24th. I put an announcement out actually last week. And I'm sorry if you didn't miss it. I mean, if you did miss it, but yeah, exactly. So we are canceled for the 24th. I actually made that decision myself, about a week ago now, last Tuesday, and made that decision. I saw which way things were going and wanted to keep everybody safe, and we decided to cancel, but it'll be rescheduled for August 12th. Your tickets, this is the Zanies Nashville event, Campfire Live. We're going to be doing it, if everything's good and everything's cool by then, August 12th. So your tickets will still be good, and you can actually get tickets at jimharold.com/live. So there you go. Nick the nurse from Maine. I feel like I'm living in a Stephen King novel. Now, Dar, you have a connection to Maine.
I work in Maine, but from here. So
there you go.
I'm in telepractice. So yeah, all my kiddos are in Maine, and they just shut the schools down yesterday, first day. So yeah. And it's definitely like a Stephen King novel.
It is. It is. I was telling somebody today, they said, I just started reading The Stand.
Yeah, don't read The Stand.
Don't read The Stand. Facebook, you're from Delhi, India. How cool. You win the prize, which there isn't one, but if there were one, you would win it further. So thank you so much. Darcy, have a drink for me. I plan on it.
He's had too many already.
Hi from Ava. Chris says, I've been on the Corona workout while cleaning everything. Yep. We're all trying to do that, I think. Hey, Kathy, you stay safe too and take care by all means. Katie, thanks for the distraction. Hello from California. Elizabeth says, happy St. Patrick's Day from Florida. Great to have some company. Jazz says, good evening from Hurricane, Utah. And Jason's actually from Ireland.
It was Ireland.
That was our fault. It was my fault. So that's not on you. That is on
that
me.
was
So
us.
I think we may have missed a person. Bobby is there from Texas or Tejas. So we're so glad to see her here. So everybody, thank you. John says from the UK, our daughter just came back from there, and we're going to share that little bit of the story.
That was fun.
So anyway, we'll get back to some more comments, questions, those kind of things. But I thought it would be good, Dar, for us to get together and not necessarily talk about anything spooky, but just talk about our experiences and ask people how they feel about it. The one thing I want to get out there, though, this is not, we do shows and they have a lot of speculation. And I think when it comes to this, it's not really the area to speculate on. I mean, some of the things we speculate on, are there aliens? In some ways it's relatively harmless, but you can't speculate on this stuff. So that's why I put that crawl down on the bottom of the screen. If you want to get the facts, go to cdc.gov/COVID-19. Let's all flatten the curve. I think that's great direction we're trying to do our part to flatten the curve. And if you don't know what that is, if you haven't been paying attention, I think most people do. The idea is to decrease the spread of this disease, which will allow the hospital systems and the healthcare systems to stay in pace, not to be overwhelmed, because we see in Italy what's happening. These cases are happening so fast that they're overloading the healthcare system, and they're literally having to make choices of who will live or who will die because they don't have enough ventilators, wherever it may be. So I think what the experts and the CDC is trying to say to us, let's try to limit our exposure as much as we humanly possibly can to other people, so we reduce the spread, so the healthcare system can take care of people when they get sick. Do you think that's a fair way of putting it, Dar?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I could have explained that better. I mean, I don't know. That's just kind of what we've kind of just subscribed to that. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I think there's times when, I don't always take politicians seriously or what the government takes seriously, but I take this very seriously. And I think they're giving us the right information. You can see countries that have handled it well, like South Korea. That's what they've done, and they've had good outcomes. And you see other countries, and I don't blame them. I think everybody was kind of caught off guard about this, but like Italy, that maybe didn't act as quickly.
right.
And
Just
they're
not as
having,
prepared.
they're having a different outcome. So I think let's try to follow what the countries are having the better situation. And if anybody's listening in, there might be somebody actually from Italy. This is international, and our hearts go out to you, or anybody in the world who's impacted by this. Now, Dar, we had our own little adventure with all of this, didn't we?
Oh, we did. A couple different adventures.
Yeah. Well,
One being our oldest, who I
yes.
think some of you may know, she was on study abroad in London.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we were terrified.
yeah. And we've been watching it, and maybe, what was it, 3-4 weeks ago, I said, I was saying, order in some soup, Cass.
Yeah, we were telling her.
And
she was
she's
just like,
there's nothing to this stuff. Nothing's going to happen.
Well,
You're
she
being
didn't say
paranoid.
nothing's going to happen. She was just very like, leave me alone with this. I've got my stuff to do. And, wasn't taking it real seriously. But then again, you know what? It wasn't really presented to her very seriously either.
No,
I mean,
it wasn't.
nobody at her school talked about it while she was there. I mean, nobody was, they weren't catching the news every minute either. So she's not totally to blame.
Right. No, I agree with that. But to her credit, once she started getting it serious, she got with the program, and we have been trying to communicate to the school how serious this was. And both of us had probably been following this more closely than the average person. And I tend to be a bit of a news junkie anyway. So
Yes.
I'm pretty up to speed on stuff. And I started looking at this stuff coming from Italy and coming from South Korea and these different places. And it's like, this is coming.
Yes.
And then when I saw it started to hit the UK, I mean, I wanted to raise a flag because I didn't feel like these school administrators were taking it seriously.
Right. I mean, we were glued to, Sky News, BBC, trying to get as much information as possible, try to get solid information, make sure it wasn't hysterical information, make sure it was, legitimate, how many cases are there? Are they close? What are they doing for them? And I mean, our nightmare, I don't know about you, I thought, Jim, our nightmare was she's going to be stranded there without any support. And okay, fine, she is over 18, so she's legally considered an adult, but she's not an adult. Okay.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Like, and for us, she's always going to be our baby. So we are freaking out, thinking she has no real adult support over there. If she can't get out to get food, what is she going to do? What if she can't get home? What if they cancel flights or close the border or do what? I mean, so all these things were run, not to mention, what if she ended up contracting coronavirus? What if, can she get medical help? I mean, she's not a UK resident, not that they would turn her away, but look at what was happening in Italy. I mean, they were kind of picking and choosing the worst cases. And what if they said, well, this 20-year-old UK resident's worse than this 20-year-old American? I mean, all kinds of things were running through our head. And
to be clear, we both love the UK. We went there last summer and we fell in love with it. It's great. I can't wait until all this stops.
Well, my uncle's there, my aunt and uncle.
Yeah, we can
hope they're there.
Yeah, we we really look forward to going back once all this has stopped. But we knew it was in our daughter's best interest. And I think it
to get
was,
her home. Yeah.
well, almost 2 weeks ago, we called them and said, "Hey, are you guys thinking about everything?" And we
Because they
basically
recalled their people from it. They recalled study abroad from Italy and South Korea.
And basically, we were kind of treated like, "Oh, how nice of you to call. There's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, we'll pat your head. Yeah.
So anyway,
as if we were the hysterical ones. I mean, and we were very level-headed and very kind on the phone and very, professional on the phone, and said, look,
right.
These are our concerns. How can you answer these concerns? They did not answer any of the concerns. Yeah, and they were just kind of dismissive. Well, we're not recalling them. So
yeah. So then a week ago, Monday, I think it was, I wrote them a note and said basically, and I laid it out. Are you going to be responsible if they get stuck there and don't have supplies? Are you going to be responsible if they get there and get sick? Are you going to be responsible if they close all the flights down and they can't get back? And it was more patting on the head. And
you didn't even get a response to that email.
Then I called and screamed at somebody for 10 minutes. And then,
oh, you guys don't know Jim.
Yes, I am known
when
as
Jim
a
is
nice
incensed,
guy.
stay away from Jim.
I am a nice guy.
I felt so
usually.
I mean, I wanted action, but I felt so badly for the woman on the other end of the phone because he was basically eviscerating her.
Yes. Yeah, so much for nice Jim. But
yeah, he's
anyway,
not all that nice sometimes.
Don't mess with me and mines. Anyway, the point being,
well, you didn't get an answer to that either. We got an email later that night saying they weren't pulling them, that they were not recalling the students. And if we wanted her to come home on her own, we can have her come home and they would maybe work something out with her credits. And that was our big concern too. I mean, we're going to call her back and not even looking at the financial losses from that. She was going to lose her credits that she had been working so hard for. And then what? She's going to have to do a whole nother year, another semester of college. So we were not happy, and we were trying to talk to her about it. And, we didn't really know, we didn't know what to do. I remember she was on the phone so upset and very confused. She didn't really know whether she should come home. Should she stay? We didn't want her to stay. But then,
well, I just want to say, Sabrina can't picture me screaming.
Oh, gee. Well, maybe I'll tape it next time.
So, and Dan's right. Sometimes a nice guy does finish last. Seriously, I have found that sometimes you just got to be a jerk. I hate to say it, but it's true.
He tries not to do that.
You try to start out nice, but then when people think you're nice,
Jim is scary.
But anywho,
people are saying that, and it is scarier than his podcast. Trust me.
But
like the girls, when they're around and he does that, they cringe. They go away. They are like, yeah.
But anyhow, what ended up happening was that
was thankfully taken out of our hands. Thank God.
Yeah, the president made the speech where he was cutting off travel from Europe.
That was Thursday night.
Overnight, there you go.
He cut off travel, and then we didn't get. They have still to this day not communicated with us, the parents. And I have a huge problem with that because, when it comes time to fill out financial aid, whose information do they need? They need the parents' information.
And when there's a check, it's funny. They're so receptive.
They're so receptive when money needs to be put in their hands, but so if you didn't want to email me, then don't ask me for my financial aid information. Then just keep it to my daughter, and you could get her financial aid information, which is nothing, and you can pay her full ride to go to school. But it doesn't work that way.
Patrick said you should see me in front of a class of 50 middle schoolers.
Oh, wow, 50 middle schoolers. That's enough. Enough said.
So, long story short, she got home Friday night. Now they gave us zero. Yeah, Friday night. We got up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
We were up at before 4 o'clock in the morning because she called us. She got the email. We didn't get the email saying that they were recalling them to come home, make your own arrangement. Once again, no help, no navigation, nothing. So we worked with one of her friends, his parents, and we worked together. We were literally on the phone at 4 in the morning, going through the airline, trying to get their original flight changed, trying to get and they just made it under the wire, right, Jim? Because they would have never been able to fly into the city they flew into
That's right.
because
Yeah.
that wasn't one of the authorized airports to land.
Yeah, they landed in Pittsburgh, but the thing is that like the next day or two, you had to fly into one of 13 airports, I think it was. And then
Yes.
those are the ones where you saw the huge lines,
Yes.
which is risky in and of itself.
Yes.
And just, and the thing is that the one thing that annoyed me is they kept like trying to, pat us on the head. And I use the analogy. It's like, okay, you're in a house.
Yeah, you
It's
said
on
this to them.
fire. You wait until the fire comes into the room you're in. I mean, just to give you perspective, the first email, which was a week ago yesterday, the cases in the UK were 61. And I think now, what is the UK count?
You told me over 1,000.
Yeah, it was well over 1,000.
Yeah.
So
in 1 week.
there you go.
And the school there they weren't closing down. They had
but they did
we're
end
not
up
closing down.
But
This
what
is
makes me laugh
ridiculous.
is all these people who were like, "Oh, we're not closing it down. We don't need." They ended up closing down anyway. They just did it 2 or 3 days later, which was actually worse.
It was.
It's like,
But thank God she got home Friday. She got home safe. Everybody's home safe.
yes.
But it was interesting, right, Jim? Because when she landed, she went through customs, right?
Yep. Nothing.
And no temperature taken, no screening. They asked her where she was, and they're like, "Oh, everybody's study abroad today," and that was basically it. And off you go. No dictate to self-quarantine for 14 days. Nothing. We were very shocked, but we chose to self-quarantine the whole family, and we're not leaving for 14 days.
Yeah,
so
we don't want to feel that we're responsible for somebody else getting sick.
Because we don't know. I mean, she doesn't have any symptoms. She feels fine.
Yeah.
We all feel fine. Thank God. I mean, we're doing okay. But you don't know. What if she's a carrier?
Yeah.
We don't know.
Right.
We don't want to be responsible for someone else getting that off of her.
And there was Sabrina's asking, no temperature screen, right?
No. Nothing. Zero. We were in disbelief, remember? I couldn't believe. I mean, they didn't even ask her if she was having symptoms or any, like, are you coughing? Or do you have, nothing.
On a totally unrelated note, George wants to know did I ever skate? I'm not sure why, but I think I skated like once or twice at a roller rink and once on ice. And believe me, you think I'm scary when I get angry. I'm more scary when I skate. It's not a good scene. It's not a good scene.
We tried to ice skate on our honeymoon, remember?
Yeah, tried.
Yeah, I said tried.
Fine. You were fine. You were fine. I'm horrible.
No, I wasn't that great.
So I
could go around the ring.
And then our other daughter had her own little thing.
Oh my God.
She goes to a school. It's like an independent school.
Yeah.
And we found out that 4 students had been exposed to someone.
One of the first cases in Ohio.
Yeah.
They were all on the same bus together. So, but they didn't know that. So the student, that was like on a Wednesday that they got back. Those students came to school Thursday, Friday, came to school Monday. And that's when the first case was confirmed Monday afternoon. And that's when they told everyone that those kids had been exposed. So, yeah. So what did that mean for us? So then Jim got in a fight too with her principal.
Yeah, I said, why don't you just leave them home for a day and see what happens here? And
well, like just close the school for one day, make sure you clean it a little and pay a little extra care to it. I mean, we weren't telling them to completely shut it down right away, but like do something proactive, kind of.
Yeah, Colette makes a good point. She said, I have to go to work. I have no choices. I own like other people in the UK. I really feel for people. There's a few different categories of
situation.
People. There's people like us who telework anyway, so this isn't that big of a change. We're sure there's other changes, but we're very fortunate because this is just the way we work, right?
Right.
Then you have people who work in offices who can telework.
Yes.
That they don't, but it's a transition they can make. They've got the resources, they've got a company, and those people. Then you've got people who, are like essential personnel, security personnel, law enforcement, doctors, truck drivers, grocery store workers, restaurant people now in Ohio. And I know this is coming more and more in the States and different states and around the world. Restaurants are open for carry out or delivery. Or drive through. That's it. Our governor in Ohio, who I think is doing a great job, has locked everything down. But there's another category of people who are in jobs, and I don't know Colette's situation, but I feel badly like somebody who works in a factory, for example.
Right.
Well, what do? I
I
mean,
know.
you got to work, and
Or what if you're the only breadwinner? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're the
I mean,
only person bringing money in. I mean,
I just feel that,
what do you do?
and is that if you absolutely, if you can, stay home. And I think there's a lot of people who have the option to stay home that probably aren't staying home. And those are people that I think that we need to say, hey, come on.
If you have the option, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
why put yourself and others out there at risk? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
You have no choice. There's no choice. You have to go. I mean,
yeah. Oh, cousin Dolly, Jean. Hey,
oh,
to see you. Good to see you. And I agree.
thank you.
Prayers for you too and for the country. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Good to see you. But I just hope that people take this. Thanks, Lonnie, one of our greatest listeners and supporters. It's just it's a very sad situation. But the way I look at it is, and again, we're in the first inning here, folks. We don't know what's down the road. But when I think about somebody in World War II having to go off to war for 2-3 years and leave their family, maybe never come back, and us, maybe the ones who can, and I'm talking about the people who can't, stay home and watch Netflix. I mean, I think we can make that sacrifice for our fellow person, whether we're in America or anywhere else. Oh, now here Colin has the latest, and these aren't verified by me, but it wouldn't surprise me. As of 17th UK cases, 1950 and 60 deaths.
She wanted to get to Scotland, Colin. Our daughter was dying to go to Scotland. She wanted to visit Edinburgh over the weekend. They were going to take a bus in, and they didn't get to go. But and eventually we have to say too, Jim, that she did turn around. At first when you told her to buy the soup, she was all, but then when she started getting the news, she started freaking out. And, she's like, well, what do I do? And as parents, it's difficult. Like we said, she's an adult, she can make decisions, but we didn't want to be the ones to say, you know what, you have to come home. We're like scrapping your dream of studying abroad. You may have regrets later. We didn't want to be those people, but also on the other hand, we wanted her home safe. So it was just a really rough situation all the way around.
It is. I mean, there's no ease, in some of these it's cut and dry. Like us, we shouldn't leave the house. There's no excuse. We've got plenty of groceries.
Well, we're not leaving the house. We're hunkering down for at least 14. And I'm not leaving the house because despite there's a whole argument in the thyroid cancer community about if people who've had thyroid cancer are, immune suppressed or not. I don't know about everyone else. I feel that I am. I feel that I get knocked out with tiny illnesses. If you've heard Jim over the years having to constantly run to the hospital with me, I was terrified all season anyway of just getting the flu, of getting just sick in general. I have been doing everything to try to boost my immune system. I've been staying away, and I've actually been kind of laying low all winter anyway, because I think it was actually a year ago this night, I was in the ICU about to die. And I'm laughing now about it, but it's not funny. I was about to die from a simple virus that causes colds in most people. It was not coronavirus. It was human metapneumovirus. Never heard of it in my life. But some people get it and it can cause them to die. Other people get it and they have the sniffles. Well, for me, it was pretty severe and it caused the pneumonia, and I was in ICU for a week. So I did not want a repeat of that this year. So I had been doing everything possible to kind of lay low anyway. Asked poor Jim, because he's been running to the grocery store a lot instead of me going to get the stuff. Well, before all this, I'm talking about, because I just didn't want to get sick in general, and then this came out. I really wasn't leaving, and I'm not leaving the house. So,
and it's tough for people, again, like for example, Bobby saying here, my my husband's in law enforcement, and
thank you both for your
your
service, because
yeah, It's frightening. It really is a frightening situation. I mean, I think we've discussed it, Dar, and I think many people have discussed it. Even when we look at people like our parents who faced a lot, Great Depression, World War II. Your dad was actually in Italy when it was happening as a small child and had some very frightening stories. But yet, nobody alive has experienced anything like this, unless somebody who's 100 or something. But not even 100, they would have missed the Spanish flu. So
Yeah, they would have.
you
Yeah.
would literally have to be over 100 to have been around, and there's probably only a handful of people who maybe vaguely remember it as small children still alive on the whole planet. This is unprecedented.
It is. It is. And it's just, I mean, it is scary. I think it's more the fear of the unknown because we've seen cases where they say, oh, people that have recovered, it wasn't that bad. I had a little cough. And then we see the other cases and we see those poor people in Italy on ventilators lying on their stomachs trying to get air in. We saw that case around here, Jim. Somebody wasn't too far from us in Ohio that had it. And he said it felt like he was drowning on land
Yeah.
because he couldn't breathe.
Writing. And I feel so badly for people. Jason here says,
Yes.
I've applied for unemployment benefits and closed my business. I'm worried about my parents who are 76 and 80 years old. My dad's 84. Yep. I'm right with you. I know exactly. And the 102 years since the last big pandemic.
Yeah.
I mean, I know there was a pandemic in 57 and 68 was the Hong Kong flu. Then there was the swine flu. Now, I don't know each and every one of these were actually pandemics. Some of them were swine flu, I think in 75 or 6. Then we had H1N1, but nothing like this. Nothing like this.
Well, everything's closed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very weird.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. And Chris, who is one of our great administrators, over at the Facebook group, Virtual Campfire. It's a really tough situation for everyone. I run my own company, so I've been self-isolated for 2 years, but my partner is a nurse. So we decided as a family to self-isolate as she looks after those who are frail, and we don't want to put them in danger or our 2-year-old all safe, and hopefully things will get better sooner than predicted. And this isn't even to speak of the economic consequences.
Oh,
I mean, I really believe I think it was there's a gentleman I follow. His name is Dean Abbott, and I believe he's a reverend. I think I've had him on the show before, but he said on his Facebook page he thinks life will change forever after this. And I think it will. I think like 9/11, we're going to think of pre-pandemic and post-pandemic. Those of us, and hopefully everybody here will make it through fine. I'm confident we will. And I think that's people who lived through the Second World War, before the war and after the war. I think that's the way we're going to, just as people who have been around 9/11 feel that way. Well, this was before 9/11. This happened after 9/11. I think this is going to be similar to that.
Well, I just hope maybe it will, change people for the better a little bit. Everybody just tries to be more united and not as divided and try to be kind to one another. And maybe everybody will wash their hands now because I'm sick of seeing people that used to go into the bathroom and leave without washing their hands. Ew. I mean, maybe those are the good changes that we can hope for.
And the thing that I think, and I don't want to get into a political thing one way or the other. I think that there's things have been done wrong. I think there are things have been done right. I think, certain people deserve credit for some things, but also criticism for others. But I will say this, that the microbe, when it comes for you, it doesn't ask you if you're labor or conservative. It doesn't ask you if you're Republican or you're Democrat.
Right.
It'll get you either way. And I've seen some really good leadership, I think, from people from both sides of the aisle. I think about Mike DeWine. He's a Republican from Ohio. I think
he's been really good for Ohio right now.
I like some of the things Andrew Cuomo is saying, a Democrat from New York. So I think that good leadership can come from either side.
Yeah, I don't like when anyone tries to make this political. It's not political. It's medical. It's human life. That's all we're worrying about right now. I think that's all. I don't know.
Well, we need something on a lighter note. Bobby says, on a lighter note, y'all want to know something hilariously dumb? You told me last night that officers are responding to theft all over toilet.
Oh my gosh, the toilet paper.
Boy, it's a bunch of
Somebody asked earlier, I can't pull up the different chats, but if we're out of toilet paper in our area, and the answer is yes. I think our neighbor said there was a line because we are not going out. So whatever we have, and we
That's right.
stocked up early. But
Yeah, we were like 2 or 3 weeks ahead of the curve, I think, because I was paranoid. But in this case, that was a good thing.
yeah, Jim's very paranoid.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little too much. Yeah, but it worked out. It's okay. We
Yeah.
have our gloves. We have lots of soup. Jim made sure he went out and bought soup, but he does have a can of soup every day for lunch anyway. So
Hey, I'm down 19 pounds, everybody. 19
yay!
pounds. So we're working on it.
Oh, I like what Tracy
I got
has.
I got I thought I got a little afraid because I'm like, am I going to be on an involuntary diet? It's gonna be like rationing out food.
Yeah, we're not buying any food anymore, and you'll just have to make do. Well, you and I would be fine. We could live off of our
That's
fat for months, maybe years. I don't know. We'd be okay. Right?
Well, yeah, I guess so. I
Oh,
don't
you
know.
guess so?
We're moving both in DARS. Last time we're both moving in a positive direction with that.
Moving, that's the key. So I've been moving. Somebody mentioned vitamin C and zinc. Absolutely. We're taking our vitamins. Yeah, there's a whole controversy on elderberry. I don't know if anyone's heard about that one. Some people
Yeah.
swear by it. I was reading that it can do other things with your immune system. Who knows?
Well, we're not experts, so if you want,
No, we're not. So we don't know.
CDC.gov/COVID-19.
I don't know what they say about it, but you can find all kinds of information.
Patrick said, you gave your 19 pounds to me. Just got back from the doc. Believe me, I just kind of got to a point where I decided I've got to do something about this until it does something to me. Because I've been very lucky with my health, but luck only runs so long. So I just made a decision, and hopefully I can keep with it. I mean, stuff like this is very stressful, and I could easily see falling back into bad patterns.
Well, nervous eating, if you eat with your emotions, you just like, oh my gosh, I have to have something to eat. Well, no, you don't. You have other things that we need to do. And why have you lost 19 pounds, John?
Uh-oh.
Virus. No, I'm just joking. Just joking. That's a big, I mean, we shouldn't joke like that. I know some people get really, really upset.
Yeah,
Sorry. But in our house, it's the way to lighten the mood a little bit. So anytime anyone does a little cough, we're like, virus.
Well, here's the thing that I got to say is that, some people have said, you shouldn't joke about this. And I understand there's going to be a lot of people who die with this. But I look at something like the Second World War with like Bob Hope and all those people in America going out on USO tours. And there were a lot of people that died in the Second World War, but yet that humor gave the people some comfort. So I think sometimes, and then I don't mean in a cruel way, I don't mean in a mean way, but you've got to
Not
make
at anyone's expense.
I mean, no. You really have got to, you gotta just lighten it up a little bit, because if you didn't, my gosh, it is really laugh or cry. And I think it's both. I think there's something to cry about. I think there's something to laugh about. I mean, it's just, it's tragic. I mean, it's going to be a tragedy, and we're all going to be touched by it directly or indirectly. There's going to be someone we know and love who dies from this. And it's a terrible thing to say, but it's going to happen. And, we just got to be together as we can to try to pull through it. Past generations have pulled through different types of crises, but certainly very big ones. And now it's our turn.
Right. And
So,
really, isn't the main question with toilet paper my big beef all the time, whether you put it over or under? I mean, that's the real question, is how you put it on the roller. That's what we need to worry about.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes, the medical field, you have to have a sense of humor. When I was working with elderly patients, if you did not keep it light, you would be so depressed. My second stint after my mom had died and after I had the kids, I tried to go back working in that setting, and it proved to be way too difficult for me. I just couldn't couldn't get out of that, and I kept trying. I was like, just, oh my gosh, this is so sad and this is depressing, and I don't feel like I'm making a difference with these people. And you just second guess yourself, and I'm thinking I'm not worth it. I'm not doing really well for these people. And it just, the first time around, if you don't keep it light and happy, that's kind of fell into that kind of mindset that was kind of depressing, depleting.
So I'm wondering from the group here, if you can post in the comments, what are you going to be doing during this extra time? And I realize there are people who are not going to have extra time because they can't stay at home because they're essential personnel and so forth. But if you're going to be staying home, what are you going to do? Are you going to use it to meditate, read books, listen to podcasts? I'd be really interesting to see what other people are going to be doing during this off time.
Did you see what Rhonda said about her dog when her dog sneezed?
Let me see here. Let me find it.
Sorry, I thought that was great.
That's a good one.
That's
unclean. A good one. Lonnie said he's going to be listening to Jim Harold podcast. I like the sound of that. That's
Jim
excellent.
Likes that one too. Definitely.
Jamie says, riding my horse. There you go. And that's another thing. Rhonda says, and she's been a guest being interviewed on podcasts and
Very
writing.
good.
Yeah. Tell us what you're going to do. And that's one thing that you can do. You've got to practice social distancing to be responsible, but you could go to the park and just make sure you're a few feet, 6 feet, I think is the guidance, 6 feet away from people. We're going to, once this 14 days are over, I see us going to the park and more things like that. Rhonda said she'll also be catching up on Campfire. That's a cool thing.
I walk the dogs down the driveway.
Yeah.
Up to the neighbors and back, and that's it. But just to move around a little bit.
And back to our humor question, we had a lot of humor like this when I was a prosecutor. If you don't laugh, you cry. It's true.
True. And somebody else mentioned about well-being, your mood and your well-being. And what have I been telling you? We just need to be positive. And I just keep telling everybody in the house, we're not getting it. We're just going to be healthy. Everybody think healthy. Do healthy things. Wash your hands. Everybody, let's keep things clean. Take your vitamins. We're just going to be healthy, and we're going to be positive, and we're not going to get it. And we pray. Well, I don't know what the rest of the three of them do in the house. I pray. So
I'm a heathen.
You are a heathen.
I'm a heathen. Heal. Let's see here. Woo! What other folks are going to do. Maddie is crochet and macrame. So much yarn, so much joy. Excellent.
She makes really nice things.
Yeah, excellent. And
I can't crochet. I can knit. Isn't
Maddie,
that stupid?
if you want to post where your Etsy store is, you can put a URL up there if you're listening, and I'll post it for people to check out. Bobby says, my co-workers and I were messing around to put 2 bottles in our pockets and imitating a wireless duel. Okay.
There you go.
Patrick says, I'll be trying to figure out what online learning looks like for my music production and choir students. I'll also be doing plenty of podcasting. It's interesting. You may not know this, Patrick. I was in many choirs. Actually, I was a music major for like about a week, but I was in a ton of vocal choirs.
More than a week, Jim.
And the thing is I was a vocal major. And what I've often wondered, is there a good solution? And I saw somebody else ask this just today. Is there a good solution for musicians to practice online together that doesn't have a lot of latency and has high audio quality? I don't know that answer, but hopefully, I think that's an idea whose time has come. Tracy says she's been working through a pandemic plan at work, but when I get home, I pet my kitties. That's, I think that pets are such a stress reliever at this time.
Ours definitely are.
Yeah.
And I think they're so happy.
They're loving it
they've got everybody. Everybody's home, giving them attention.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. You and I are still kind of working. So, but the girls are giving them attention.
I got to admit though, I'm getting my shows out and everything, and Paranormal Podcast will either be up tonight or first thing in the morning, but I am distracted. I got to admit, because it's
it's hard to focus.
See what the latest news is and what's going on. And it's very hard for me. And I'm usually, me, I'm Mr. Focus. When it comes to my work, I'm like, it's a job. I know this is fun and enjoyable and interesting, and it's all those things, but I treat it very seriously. I'm in here at least my 8:30 to 5, and a lot of times a lot more than that.
Way more than that.
But during this, I found it very hard to, just because of the gravity of what's going on. And every day there's so many developments.
Yeah.
A lot
overwhelming.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Alana said she'd be spending with her time with her horse too, and wondering how I'm going to make any money to pay his expenses. It is such a sad thing, and I don't want to. When we talk about flattening the curve and staying at home, I don't want to minimize people who are going to be out of jobs out of this. I mean, it's really scary. It is, and I'm sure that I think everybody pretty much, unless you're like in the prepper business, I think everybody's going to take an economic hit on this. Some people, they're in a more precarious situation and it's harder for them. And some people it's going to hit everybody, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
It is.
So we just got to make it through. Got to make it through. Jazz says still got to work until it decides to close too. Being a dad, listening to your backlog of shows illustrate my second children.
Wow.
Very cool. And get some
Yay.
fresh air. I was due to go on holiday. Working in town, but hopefully from home on a team, moving all the classes at our university online.
Yeah, that's what's going on at most of the universities, and possibly these other, grade schools, high schools too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, our daughter's kind of in limbo right now because this was spring break week, but they're talking about moving to online classes, remote learning.
Lori says, I've started some yard work, looking forward to spring.
Hey, come on here. Come on over here.
Well,
we
I
have
was
plenty.
thinking, we were thinking of doing some stuff around the house in terms of some dejunking and things we needed to do for a long time. And this, it might be a captive audience. And it's like, hey, let's spruce some things up. So, yeah. Bobby says, Lysol bottles, laughing out loud. Catching up on Campfire 2, we're praying for our country. I agree. Dolly Jean says, Jim and Dar, stay safe. Thanks for the broadcast. Take care of my sweet uncle. We'll be praying as well. We'll talk to you again. Love you. Well, you take it easy.
We are taking care of him. Yeah, he's doing okay. Thank God.
Yeah, we are. My dad, actually, he lives about 10 minutes away in an apartment. We have him rigged up with an Echo Show so we can talk to him, and he's
digging that. I think he thinks that's great.
Yeah,
he gets to see us. He's getting to see the girls.
But we're not visiting him. But I've gotten him in more than enough groceries for 2 weeks, and he gets a meal delivered. So he's doing. And
fine. If we have to stay in longer, luckily, I mean, I don't know if this is the case where you guys live. There's some of the grocery stores have the curbside pickup. Some have delivery. So there's some options.
Yeah, there certainly are. And Facebook user, I'm not sure who it is, but thank you for Jim and Dar for the show. Lovely listen to you. And this is a good point. I think maybe a good point to end it on. Jamie says the self-quarantine might be a good moment in time for everyone to slow down and smell the roses. And I mean, I guess try to take the best out of a bad situation. And if you're interested, we're going to be doing more live streaming, and I'll post this on the show. I think it's 8:00 on Thursday night. I'll be posting this. We're going to do a live stream with Stephen Intermill. Ooh. And Stephen Intermill, he is the man who is behind the Buckland Museum of Witchcraft. And Stephen is going to join us, and he is going to actually do some show and tell and show some artifacts. So I think that it'll be interesting and a little spooky and something a little bit off of this topic, but
distracting a little bit would be good right now.
I did feel, though, Dar, I felt it was good for us to address this. We may release this as an episode of Soulmate Stories. I'm not sure, but just to say, we feel your pain. We're dealing with it too.
Everybody's cooped up. In terms of soulmates, you will argue with your soulmate. Then you will make up with your soulmate.
That's right. That's right. We're all made up now.
Well, it's good. You're cooped up in a house, and everybody's stressed and overwhelmed, and the schedule, the routine, and I guess everybody, it is my fault because I was complaining of being in a rut. Earlier in January, I'm like, this just feels like a rut. We need to get out of this rut. I wish I would have shut up.
Yeah. You know what? Let's get the rut back.
Yeah, I want the rut back.
Let's get the rut back.
I want it back badly. I want the routine. I mean, I think, that's what it is. Like, sometimes tempers are high. I think everybody just needs to kind of breathe. I've been doing Tai Chi to kind of calm down, and I want Jim to do Tai Chi with me.
I've been doing my own therapy right here.
He makes fun of me and drinks beer.
No, actually, to be honest with you, this is the first beer I've had. No,
That's not the first beer.
Not tonight, but I've not been drinking heavily. You make it sound like I've been drinking
no, you haven't been.
Although I may tonight.
You already have, hon. You're done. Do you even have any more? Hey,
Gotta ration it out.
ration it out. Ration it out.
So anyway, well, thank you all. I appreciate it. I hope you have a great night. Stay safe.
Stay healthy.
Stay home if you can, really. I mean, if it's...
I mean, if you have to work, but I think let's eliminate all this other unnecessary. Somebody was saying that their bars are open and people are going for St. Patrick's Day. Don't do that tonight.
I'm sorry. Drink at home. Join me. Drink at home.
Drink at home.
Everybody see that great video from Arnold Schwarzenegger? Look it up.
Oh my gosh, you have to see that
Lulu
video.
And Whiskey. Lulu and Whiskey.
Lulu
We're having
and
a good
Whiskey.
time.
They're
We're not
very
going out to
interesting.
the restaurants. We're not going out to the restaurants. We're staying at home and we're eating. It's delicious. Stay home. Stay home. Lulu and Whiskey.
Yes.
Oh, it was great. That was great.
It was very good. So there
happy
you go.
St. Patrick's
Happy
Day,
St.
everybody.
Patrick's. Stay healthy.
Stay healthy. Stay safe.
Keep
We'll
in
talk to you
touch.
soon. Thursday night, we're going to be doing that
Jim will be there.
live stream with the Witchcraft Museum. Oh, spooky stuff. We'll talk to you then. Have a great night every day.
Good night, everybody.
St. Patrick's Day. Stay safe. Stay home.
Be healthy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.